So the map you just saw was a tier 8 map. As soon as I got to the breach, unfortunately the breach just ended up disappearing. Also, you'll have to bear with my voice for a bit because, as I mentioned before, I am sick this week. I haven't had much time to play. So this is what the build is now. No more Ice Strike, and I'm not doing Tempest Flare either. I do have it just in case for bosses, but really you could just gem swap this in. It doesn't have to be here. It's mainly here just for the faster attacks on bosses, plus it gives you access to Tempest Bell by the combo that it gives. That's really the only reason it's there, but once again you can just gem swap this in when needed. I just left this in because at this point I think I have an empty slot as well. Like I said, I didn't play much this week, so I do still have quite a bit of stuff to figure out, but the build feels better than it did before. Just switching to this, whatever this is called, Storm Wave. It's a melee skill, but it's ranged. Helps a lot. It just makes the clear field better. So we have that. We are still using Elemental Expression. This might get swapped into Unbound Avatar. I'm not 100% sure. It's one of those things that I'll have to play around and see. But we do have Lightning Bolt from Stormchoir now. And how much it's actually helping, I can't tell, because I made a few changes at the same time. Switched to Cast on Shock as well, and we're using Herald of Thunder. And there were a few changes on the tree as well. We spec'd out of the Ignite damage here. We spec'd out of just a few nodes, like this crit chance here, this crit damage bonus here. Just so that we could go into General Electric here, and eventually we want to go into Harmonic Generator here, just for that 40% increased magnitude of shock. And that crit chance is also nice, and that would pair really well with Lightning Conduit. Just to show you what the entire tree looks like right now, we have points here. We never picked up this last point. We won't need anymore. We drop charge stuff as well. We drop power charges. So we don't deal with any charges anymore at all. That sort of, I guess, helps the build feel better because we don't have to worry about that side of things at all. Then this is what the top side of the tree looks like, and back again. So if you do want to copy the build, that's what the tree is. The gear has pretty much stayed the same. All I did was throw in Choir of the Storm, and then I lost some lightning res, so I threw in this Storm Rune. And even then, we're not maxed out. But because we are more of a sort of ranged playstyle now with Storm Wave, you don't really feel this resistance loss. If anything, the build feels much more tankier just because we have that extra space between us and the minions. I guess it's that melee versus range thing. These are the gems we're using. So for Lightning Bolt, we're just using Spell Echo and Spell Cascade to get more of the Lightning Bolts on the ground. I don't know if you could tell in the gameplay, but there were certain points where a single hit would create 4 of these. And here, let's see if we can find any straggler mobs to sort of activate this. The other here, let's see. Okay, see, so that was off 1 hit basically, and the reason this is proccing when it's hitting me is just because we have Wind Dancer, and Wind Dancer has a crit tag on it, or well, it can crit. So the Gale Force actually has, where is it? No, it looks like it has a 100% chance to crit. So yeah, Gale Force has a 100% chance to crit here. And that's also triggering Lightning Bolt, which Lightning Bolt is on the crit. So we're getting the Spell Echo and the Spell Cascade, which is causing those extra bolts. And other than that, we just have conduction and coursing current. I might play around a lot with the gem sockets just for all the skills. I mean, I'm sure they're not optimal. And I wish we had POB, because that would help a lot in determining some of these, various ways to go with the build. Even just like, is it more worth it to go these sort of nodes over here, or is it more worth to get these nodes here, because this one does give 15% more maximum lightning damage. So we'll definitely pick this up at some point. It's just which one is more helpful, like how big is the difference actually between this and this, right? Element expression nodes are pretty much the same. I think every once in a while I play around with this one, take it off and put it back on. Other than that, they haven't changed. Storm Wave is just Innervate, Lightning Infusion, Martial Tempo. The other thing is that I am starting to feel a bit constrained by the fact that everything is sort of 3 sockets. It would be nice to hit some 4 sockets. So here we have Primal Armament, Conjure Effect, Close Combat. So you don't really use this skill, right? So these can be repurposed, I suppose. Mana Remnants just has the 4% life recovered on kill. This goes a long way to make you feel tanky as well, so you should definitely run this. Tempest Bell, once again, not really used, but this is what it has on it. Maybe this is something I would move on to, say, I don't know, something else that we use more often if there were more sockets for it. Maybe it's better on Wind Dancer. I don't know. But yeah, this is going to stay here for now. This is what I mean by I'm just changing skills around as I go to see what feels better. Herald of Thunder, just Magnified Effect, Overcharge, Lightning Mastery. And then Wind Dancer is Blind, Shock Siphon, Lockdown. And then we still have the 2 cast on Shocks. We have the Comet on this one. I have Voltaic Mark on this. I'm not sure how often this is useful. I feel like every time this cast on Shock triggers, the Comet just comes and destroys everything anyways. So I'm not sure how helpful this actually is, but it might be helpful for bosses, so I'm just going to keep it on here for now. The cool thing about Voltaic Mark, and something I didn't know before, is it has this Nova it makes. I'm not sure exactly how much damage it does. Let's see, is there a way to tell? So it's doing quite a bit of damage. Nice. Yeah, it's interesting. I've never thought about the Nova part of this Voltaic Mark. And we just have Impetus here, and then just Castle Shock Lightning Conduit. I'm not sure how helpful this actually is as well. It's hard to tell with all the other lightning stuff when Lightning Conduit happens. But I do have Elemental Focus, and so I think Elemental Focus helps here on this one, because this takes this it sort of breaks the shock, right? It consumes it, so it doesn't shock itself, I believe. So the downside to Elemental Focus doesn't really apply to this, I think. I'm not 100% sure about that. I just threw it on there. So far the build feels fine, right? Once it starts feeling like it gets to, I put it against a higher tier map and it feels weaker, and I take this off and all of a sudden it feels stronger, that's basically how I'll know this doesn't work. Or that the cannot inflict elemental ailments thing is actually detrimental to the skill. And on that I just have Expanse here. And yeah, that's about it. I haven't changed much. I haven't really had much time to play. But the build does feel much better than it did before with Storm Wave. And yeah, that's about it.